residence, that crimson tide, that elephant. Alabama, my stomping ground, from Birmingham through Huntsville, from Gumptown through Mobile. Taking over Bama like Nick Saban, we a nightmare like Wes Craven.
Nightmare like Wes Craven.
Flexing hard like Arm & Hammer, still speaking that country grammar. This the heart of the South from Alabama. Hit the field like it's wartime. Now watch the tide come rolling in that power I formation. Boy, I'm about to go for the strike on 1st and 10. And that run game on stick and moving them wide outs, they on jet fuel. And that old line, it don't back down. And that quarterback is gon' act a fool. Taking over Bama like Nick Saban, we a nightmare like Wes Craven. On the field, boy, we be misbehaving. That defense gon' break it down, and we squad up and go pound for pound. Still number one in the nation, boy, and we ready set to go round for round. True facts, you can check the stats, clutch like Jalen. Boy, I know it hurts that we the direct in the SEC and the CLP, cause we bomb first. Showtime on the big stage, when it's crunch time, we make big plays. 4th and 1 on the goal line with 10 seconds left, it's a run play. Alabama, I represent. Alabama, my residence. That crimson tide, that elephant. Alabama, my stomping ground, from Birmingham through Huntsville, from Gumptown through Mobile. Taking over Bama like Nick Saban, we a nightmare like Wes Craven.
Nightmare.
Flexing hard like Arm & Hammer, still speaking that country grammar. This the heart of the South from Alabama.
I'm from sweet home Alabama, where the skies are so blue. And you better be on your bed when you see the tide rolling through. Yeah, you know we play to win, no, we ain't gonna lose. And you gotta be hard by to play with us, you gon' get bruised. Hey, we going to the ship, going to the ship. Look like Auburn trying to get us caught, we ain't gon' need trip. But we taking over like Nick Saban, we undefeated, they big hate. Us to lose, they big wing. PC it big, now they long face. Making me play to the playoffs. Practicing, we don't take days off. Working until we get paid off. Roll kiss the time, we gon' take off. First down to the field goal, we'll take it off for the window. Down said, how you go in, bro? Hey, what's that school we gon' win for?
Alabama, I represent. Alabama, my residence. That crimson tide, that elephant. Alabama, my stomping ground, from Birmingham through Huntsville, from Gumptown through Mobile. Taking over Bama like Nick Saban, we a nightmare like Wes Craven.
Nightmare like Wes Craven.
Flexing hard like Arm & Hammer, still speaking that country grammar. This the heart of the South from Alabama.
Wednesday. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the middle of the week on what is the number one form, hottest show on the streets here, covering your Crimson Tide. Yours truly, Stephen Smith, the hype man, when it comes down to giving you the Alabama football commentary right here in my own words, coming to you from the magic city of Birmingham, streaming to you the show on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give us a thumbs up, like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on, hit that bell so that way you can have all the best in news, notes, alerts, and conversation on your favorite program, that being Alabama football. We also have you covered here on Facebook and Twitter as well. So all forms of social media getting you, providing to you the show. No excuse whatsoever for you not to be knocked into the number one ticket here for your Bama football. Got a lot to get to, a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about on this evening. Even one Steve Sarkisian is starting to talk now, as he is the head coach of the University of Texas. We even dive into maybe a comment or two of what he mentioned today at the Houston Touchdown Club as he's preparing to take the Texas Longhorns and try to make that program back to being a relevant program on a consistent basis. But we want to hear from you, the Tide faithful, on today. You can do this by calling 205-448-1358. That is the number to make your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. 888-1358. Want to hear from you. Guys, shout out my man, John Aubrey in the building and the production studio doing his thing there on the ones and twos. Gotta give a shout out here to two, former Alabama players.
Najee Harris and Alex Leatherwood, both of whom have signed their rookie contracts. Najee Harris has signed his 4-year, fully guaranteed deal worth a little bit over $13 million for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Alex Leatherwood has signed his deal as well, a fully guaranteed 4-year deal for those Las Vegas Raiders. Here's a little bit over $14 million. So Najee Harris and Alex Leatherwood both getting those contracts inked there. But to start the show off here, we're going to open up with this. And for me, expectations, right? I mean, for me, it doesn't matter if a quarterback is in college football or a quarterback is in the SEC or a quarterback is at Alabama. We all have expectations for the players that we want to see exceed, excel, and do well. Now, sometimes our expectations can be unfair. Sometimes our expectations can be unnecessary. Sometimes our expectations can be unorthodox. And sometimes you're wondering, now, why in the world do we have this expectation or these types of expectations for particular players? But just specifically the ones that have marquee traits, marquee tools, marquee talents, that have the ability to craft big-time production. We have expectations. We have things that we want to see this particular player, and in this sense, the particular quarterback do. And and nothing is different here when you talk Bryce Young for the Crimson Tide. He's entering his first season, or about to enter his first season, as a starting quarterback here for Alabama under Nick Saban, with a first-year offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien. And prior to attending my sister's graduation on yesterday, I was reading an article, and the article was basically on, the expectations that this particular outlet had for Bryce Young, and they had, he's got to throw for 5,000 passing yards, and he's got to have, he's got to win the Heisman, he's got to, do all of these different things. It had like six things listed out that, Bryce Young should do, Bryce Young's got to do, Bryce Young has to do. These were all of the expectations that this particular outlet lumped on the sophomore, the former 5-star out of California. So for me, I'm going to get into my expectations for Bryce Young, because I feel like mine are a bit more reasonable than what this particular outlet put out. Now, for me, I kind of took some of the things here, or I kind of got a little bit of inspiration, I'm trying to say, from what this article had put out. But I'm going to get into, my 3 expectations here for Bryce Young. So here we go here. For me, number 1, for Bryce, he should total at least 3,300 passing yards, 3,300 passing yards. I mean, that's a good round number for him into the passing game, throwing the football, because the Crimson Tide, they've got 7 backs on the roster. Coach Saban wants to use all 7 guys, or as many as he can use. He wants to be able to control the pace, control the tone, control the tempo of the game. And also, we have seen the last 2 quarterbacks for Alabama really set the bar high in the passing game. Tua Tagovailoa in 2018, his first year as a starting quarterback, 3,966 passing yards. Mac Jones, his first year as a starting quarterback this past season, set the single season score record with 4,500 yards, 4,500. So, those 2 set the bar high. But for me, I feel like Bryce Young, 3,300 passing yards, that's a good, solid round number of an expectation. And the reason why I say this is, even if you go back to 2014, where Lane Kiffin comes into the program, he gives the offense a facelift, he gives the offense an upgrade, and it was at a time where offenses were starting to change and evolve in the sport. We have seen 4 quarterbacks total 3,000 plus yards passing. 2014, Blake Sims did it, 3,487 passing yards his first year as a starting quarterback. Then 2015, Jacob Coker's first year, 3,110 passing yards. And of course, I've already mentioned the first years of Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones and what they did. So for me, Bryce, despite the fact that, Bama's going to want to run the ball more, the defense is going to be able to set the tone early within games in the season. Now, I feel like the offense will get rolling by the third game, at least between the third and the fourth game. It may even be quicker than that. But between the third or the fourth game, Bill O'Brien, Bryce Young, they'll have things worked out. They'll have the kinks worked out. Everything will be in order, and the offense will be off and running. But even with Alabama desiring to run the ball more, I feel like 3,300 passing yards, that's a good round number of an expectation there for one Bryce Young. Number 2 for me is Young he should finish this upcoming season as a first-team All-SEC selection. He should be the first-team All-SEC quarterback. And this is doable. I find this is doable for me just because you have some good quarterbacks. You have some talented quarterbacks coming back to the conference. Upon discussing guys like J.T. Daniels of Georgia, Emory Jones of Florida, the likes of Miles Brennan at LSU. At Auburn, you got Bo Nix. You also got TJ Finley, and those two have to battle for the starting job at quarterback, so that'll be interesting. Connor Bazelak's over there at Missouri. So you got Matt Corral also at Ole Miss. And speaking of Matt Corral, this is the guy that Athlon Sports had listed as its preseason first-team All-SEC quarterback. And so according to Athlon Sports, they feel like Corral is the best guy returning, the best guy in the conference. So Bryce is going to have, a shot to one-on-one show the world that, he is the best quarterback within this conference. So you got some good guys. You got some talented guys returning to the SEC. But I feel like it is a doable expectation for Bryce to be or finish the season first team All-SEC at the quarterback position, and especially with the talent he has around him for the coming season. In discussing Emory Jones at Florida, no more Kyle Pitts, no more Kadarius Toney, no more Trayvon Grimes. Those guys are gone. When you look at Bo Nix, you don't have Seth Williams anymore. You don't have Anthony Schwartz anymore. Those two guys gone. At LSU's got Kayshon Boutte, but you're trying to find different guys at wide receiver to make plays for you on the field. The same thing for Georgia. Georgia's got George Pickens, but who else do they have that they can get that ball to consistently? Even down with somebody like Matt Corral, Elijah Moore, the talented wide receiver, he's off to the pros. He's in the NFL now. So who does Lane Kiffin go to as that security blanket? Who does Kiffin go to, or who does Kiffin have offensively as that primetime receiver? So when you look at Bryce Young, he's got a John Mechie. He has a Slade Bolden. He's got, a Jamison Williams in here now, a transfer from Ohio State. He's got some young, talented pieces that he can grow with, develop with, get the ball to, along with he's got two very physical tight ends in Jaleel Billingsley and Cameron Latou. So we see the overall talent here that Young has at his disposal. I don't think it'll be difficult for him to push to be first team All-SEC at the quarterback position. And then last but not least, this expectation is self-explanatory. Young taking Alabama right and winning a national championship with this football team, helping Alabama repeat as champions of college football, go back-to-back national champions for the first time since the 2011-2012 campaign. And I think this is durable. Once again, going back to, you've got a smart, a genius, an intelligent offensive coordinator and Bill O'Brien. You have a really skilled quarterback, a really high IQ guy, a leadership type of guy where Bryce Young is concerned. He's been training so far this offseason with the 3D quarterback group out there in California, working with Coach Taylor Kelly out there. Coach Kelly is actually the quarterback's coach at the powerhouse Mater Dei High School of which Bryce Young is an alumnus of. So, Coach Kelly has been working with Bryce on the mechanics, on the athleticism, the mobility, throwing on the run, getting the timing down, and things of that nature to be an elite, hot shot, major quarterback, major player within this conference. And, having all of those things along with the talent that Bryce has around him. And on top of that, the coach and Coach Saban putting him in situations to be successful. And also, like I mentioned before, the defense. The defense is going to do its job settling the offense in the football games. But by the third or fourth game of the year, everything is going to be figured out. They're going to have all the chess pieces in play. All the kinks will be worked out, and this Alabama offense will be high-flying, ready to roll, ready to go. I know some people are asking, well, Steven, why isn't, Bryce Young winning the Heisman among your expectations? I go back to something that the fans have already mentioned. Bryce Young doesn't really need to win the Heisman right now. Get that national championship, play well, play consistent, make big plays, but you don't have to win the Heisman right now. If he does get the Heisman this season, then that's just more to love. That's just icing on the cake. That's just gravy on the mashed potatoes. That's just more to value and appreciate there. But it's not a detriment of a need for Young to win the Heisman out of the gate here year one. Now, as he continues to grow and mature and get into his second and third year playing quarterback for Alabama, then you could kind of get that expectation of maybe now it's time for him to go after that Heisman. Now it's time for him to win that coveted bronze trophy, that coveted bronze award. But for right now, my three expectations, and I think all three of these are doable. Number one, Bryce should hit 3,300 passing yards. We've seen other quarterbacks hit this mark and go beyond this mark, but 3,300 yards, good round number there for Bryce. Bryce should be able to finish as the first team All-SEC quarterback. I think that's doable. I think he could be able to accomplish that. And then last but not least, Young taking this Alabama team and winning a national championship with it. But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting started. Upon our return, we get into a conversation with you, the Alabama fans, and we'll talk to you guys right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
As we're back into the action here, folks, on the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. We got a couple of super chats to get into before we take your calls. And first off, Jimmy the Bad Man Clay started us off early with $50 in here in the super chats. He put in 25 and 25. So Jimmy Clay, boom, baby, bam, baby. Jimmy the Man Clay with that $50 donation. And then behind him, our own Spencer Reveley drops in that $5 donation. Appreciate that love there coming from him. And then we have another donation coming from Mocha. Last name kind of hard there. to pronounce that. We're going to call her, we're going to Shakalaka. Mocha Shakalaka Khan coming in with that $10 donation. So Mocha Shakalaka Khan, appreciating that, appreciating Spencer Reveling, and appreciating Jimmy Clay for those donations. Also, gotta shout out my man Bill from the NYC, New York City. Bill, who donated that $20 via check, helping us out here on the show as well. So appreciate the man Bill from NYC, the Big Apple in New York. Thank you guys, all of you guys, for the love, the support, and the joy here that you give to us on this show. But once again, we're back in from the break here. Get into the phone lines to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That is the number to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Before we take those calls there was a thought in the chat line that was very interesting. And the comment was that this fan said he would also include Jalen Hurts in the first segment I talked about in terms of, quarterbacks at Alabama that had, big numbers since the 2014 season where Lane Kiffin came in and took over the offense and gave it an upgrade. And Jalen Hurts was good. And Jalen Hurts was strong, and he was a legend here. But what I was saying in that segment was the guys that had, at least 3,000 plus passing yards, right? That's what I was saying. Not saying that Jalen Hurts was not a strong quarterback. He was, but Jalen was not in that 3,000-yard passing club here for the Crimson Tide. And discussing Blake Sims in 2014, he was in there. Jacob Coker, 2015, he was in there. Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones, both of those two were in there in their respective seasons as first-year starters, 2018 and 2020. And I was saying that because for some people out there, the expectation for Bryce Young is, I want him to throw for 5,000 passing yards, 6,000 passing yards, 7,000 passing yards. Like, whoa, people. Alabama's also got 7 running backs they're trying to get the ball to. They're trying to feature these guys at the backfield. They want to ground and pound a little bit. So I feel like at the same time, Bama will have the ground and pound, but I do see 3,300 passing yards as a good, round, solid number for Bryce Young, just to show that he can hang with the guys that came before him in what I listed there during that first segment. We appreciate that thought and that comment right there. But as you guys are continuing to get your thoughts in to call into the show, cool topic right now, and it goes to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Things have been confirmed. The Alabama-Miami season opener to kick off college football will be at full capacity. Mercedes-Benz will have it full capacity. Everybody come into that stadium to enjoy the matchup between the Hurricanes and the Crimson Tide. It'll be the first time these two teams duke it out on the field since the 1993 Sugar Bowl off the 92 season for the national championship. Coach Gene Stallings and the Crimson Tide getting that 34-13 win in that matchup. And you got two hotshot quarterbacks going in this one with Bryce Young of Alabama and De'Aaron King of Miami. Got a lot of confident Miami fans out there that feel like we can run with Bama, we can hang with Bama, we can score with Bama. We can make this a very intriguing matchup, a very intriguing contest, a very close contest. But you got Alabama in here. This is a Crimson Tide team on a mission. This is an Alabama program that's got one goal in mind, and that one goal is getting back to the college football playoff, going back-to-back national championships, and maybe also try to get that three-peat in there, because there has never been a team to three-peat in college football. USC had a chance to do it in the early 2000s, won a championship in 03, won one in 04, then 05, Texas and Vince Young came through and, disrupted all those plans there. Alabama had a chance to do it once also. It did it in 2011. It did it in 2012 with A.J. McCarron, but unfortunately a kick six against Auburn in the Iron Bowl in 2013 messed that process up also. So, Coach Saban also trying to become that first college football head coach to earn that elusive three-peat, getting 3 consecutive, national championships in a row. But the big news here, people, is Mercedes-Benz Stadium full capacity due to everybody getting the COVID vaccinations. We have a situation where we can get everybody back in stadiums to enjoy college football and Alabama football in particular as a whole. But we take a break right now on the show because upon our return, we dive into one Kendrick Blackshire, the most physically imposing player from this past recruiting cycle, is home. He has arrived on the University of Alabama campus. What could we see from Kendrick Blackshire this season? Is he ready to go and make an impact this season? We'll talk about it after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back, people, into the action from the break. And the number one ticket for Crimson Tide football news, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get into talking about one Kendrick Blackshire, gotta shout out Jimmy Clay one more time. Boom, baby, the baddest man in the game, Jimmy Clay. That $10 donation in the Super Chats. Appreciate Jimmy for all that he does here and helping us out on the show. And with that being said, that daily Super Chat goal of $75 has been met. You, the Crimson Tide fans, have been outstanding. You guys have been remarkable. You guys have been incredible. Appreciate the love they're coming from you. But we get into now the topic of Kendrick Blackshire, the most physically imposing student athlete, the most physically imposing prospect, recruit, player of this recent signing class. He is home. He is at the University of Alabama. He has arrived on campus. He got on campus between 9 and 10 p.m. on last night. And I remember when Blackshire committed, the young man from Duncanville, Texas, we were all going, who is this? What lab was he made? What lab was he created in? He is not human. Is this all natural? I mean, 6'2", 220. He looks like Optimus Prime. He looks like Megatron. This is not human. Like, how in the world was this guy crafted, sculpted, built? Like, this dude's different. This dude is real different. Like, the moment he came on, we were like, there's no way this guy's 18. This is a 30 to 35-year-old man. There's no way this kid's 18. 18 years old, though. And so the moment he comes in, you have people breaking their neck and turning their head and looking around and trying to figure out, okay, that guy at some point definitely going to get on the field. That guy at some point definitely going to play. That guy at some point definitely going to see some action. When I look at him, I basically see the son of Reuben Foster almost. I mean, great against the run in high school. Tremendous against the run. And if he gets his hands on your quarterback, it's night-night Irene. Your quarterback going to the ground. Call the paramedics, call everybody, call Alexander Shinara. None of that's going to help when he gets your hands on your quarterback. Your quarterback is going to get decapitated going to the ground there. But despite all of the qualities that Kendrick Blackshire brings to the table, the big question here that a lot of U.S. fans have been asking and want to know, it's great to see he can stop the run. It's great to see that he is very fearsome and dangerous upon attacking the quarterback. But the big question here is, can he cover? Is he great in coverage? Does he have strong footwork? Does he have lateral quickness in the coverage department? And that is a good question. That is a good thought, because when you watch his tape, he has the ability, or he's shown where he can run down, he can chase down running backs, he can take down backs out of the backfield on screen plays. But we all know here at Alabama that you've got to be able to cover the running back on wheel routes. You've got to be able to cover the running back on drag patterns. You got to be able to recognize where this particular back is and cover the back and make plays there in the passing game. We saw last season Dylan Moses, as good as he was against the run, Dylan Moses, as much as he tried, not the best in coverage. We saw him get eaten alive on wheel routes. We saw Dylan Moses get eaten alive on plays where the back escaped out of the backfield and flashed his hands, and quarterback hit the guy in open space and just did Dylan Moses in. So you also have to have that guy that can cover running backs, that can cover plays out of the backfield, that can go curl the flats, that can run sideline to sideline. And the biggest question for you as Tide fans is, can Kendrick Blackshire do these things? Well, he had been he was training on his footwork all throughout the offseason prior to him being on the campus now. So we'll see. We'll get a first-hand view, or we'll get a first-hand observation of this, because now, coming soon, the strength staff of David Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray, they're going to have these guys do the conditioning program where they're going to have them working out, they're going to have them training on speed, they're going to have them performing just specific weightlifting drills that are custom to the specific need of each player. So we're going to have the summer workouts coming up soon here, and then there's going to be the 7-on-7 training, the 11-on-11 training, and then once August comes in, our favorite time of the year, that being fall camp, where we can see for ourselves who's going to start, who's going to be the marquee contributors, who will be the guys that we have to really focus in on, circle, highlight, be all in about in conversation. But just for me, Javion Cohen, Alabama offensive lineman entering his sophomore year, he put on Twitter yesterday about how these summer enrollees, these guys huge, these guys big, these guys strong, these guys country boys, these guys ready to play right now. They look like they're ready to play right now. And when Cohen made the statement, Blackshire had not arrived on campus yet. So now that Blackshire's here, I don't know what Cohen's thought process is now. I don't know what he's saying now. I don't know what he's thinking now, or if he's gotten the chance to really see the 6'2", 240-pounder up close and personal. But this is, once again, to me, the most physically imposing guy here on this roster, in this class. From watching his tape, a lot of potential, a lot of playmaking ability, stuff in the run, can really be fierce and just nasty and roughing up some quarterbacks. But the big thing here is, now that he's at the program, will he be able to have the quickness? Does he have the quickness? Does he have the speed? Does he have the sideline ability to cover in space, to cover running backs, to cover tight ends if need be, to drop back in coverage and kind of create interceptions, create pass breakups, just create big plays there in zone in the passing lanes where coverage is concerned? But that's going to be fun. That's going to be cool. That's going to be interesting to watch him grow and develop. But the young man is here. The young man from Duncanville, Texas is home. He has made his way to the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. But we take our next break here on the show, people. Still getting your chest warm on the conversation. Upon our return, we dive back into the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your conversations. We get back with you, the Bama Nation, right after this.
Don't that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your four-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4 four-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your four-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We're back in from the break of a number one form here for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciate everybody checking us out here on a Wednesday. Everybody welcoming in the remainder of the 2021 signing class. It's the last bit of summer enrollees have made their way into the program. Happy to have these guys in. We go to Mechanic. Oh my goodness, Mechanic with the $100 donation. He dropped in the huge Ben Franklin into the pot of gold. Mechanic, appreciating the love coming from him, helping us out here on the show. But before we take your calls here, call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. There was an interesting comment in the chat line, and it talked about Malachi Moore. Is he a starting outside corner? No. Malachi is still the starting slot corner in the nickel formation, the nickel defense. Now, the two outside corners, you have Josh Jobe, and you also have Jalen Armour-Davis. Jalen Armour-Davis is trying to hold that spot because you have JaQuincy Kool-Aid McKinstry and you have Kyrie Jackson, both kind of jockeying for position to try to take that spot from JAD. But Armour-Davis right now projected the other starting outside corner opposite one Josh Jobe. Malachi Moore still be starting slot corner in the nickel package. Also a thought here when I was talking about how we had never seen anything quite like Kendrick Blackshire upon him committing and coming to the program. One of you guys wrote in Dante Hightower. Hightower was a freak too, though. Hightower was a freak when he came. He was a freak athlete when he came in here. And I remember Hightower had that injury in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. 2008, either 08 or 09, Hightower had that injury. But Hightower was a freak athlete too. And he became the real deal in that 2011 season, helping Alabama not only win the national championship, but lead college football or having Alabama lead college football in all 5 major defensive categories. Now, am I saying Kendrick Blackshire could be the next Dante Hightower? That's not what I'm saying, but there is some potential there. If he can have his footwork in order, if he can cover, if he can play in space, as well as be that guy that can stop the run, rush the quarterback, blitz on occasion. If he can cover as well as continue to strengthen the other things in his arsenal, and he already does quite well, then Kendrick Blackshire will be a very strong player here. But as of right now, am I saying the next Dante Hightower? Not quite as of right now. But appreciate the comments here from everybody commenting to the show. 205-448-1358. That is the number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. Call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you, the Tide Nation, as you're getting your thoughts in right now. Cool topic right here, as CBS Sports has already claimed its first Alabama matchup of the upcoming season. The network will have the Alabama-Florida game, which is set for Saturday, September 18th, 2:30 p.m. Central Time. Kickoff from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, known as the Swamp in Gainesville. The last time Alabama went down to the Swamp, it goes back to 2011 with A.J. McCarron as a starting quarterback. Bama got the 38-10 victory there over Florida. Prior to the 2011 season, the other time Bama got the victory down there in Gainesville, it goes back to 1999 and a running back by the name of Sean Sweetfeet Alexander. Crimson Tide getting that 40-39 overtime victory over the Gators down there in the Swamp. Sean Alexander had a major performance there in that matchup. Nick Saban, 7-1 all-time against Florida as Alabama's head coach, going back to when Saban first came in 2007. The only loss Saban has suffered at the hands of the Gators was the 2008 SEC championship game, lost to Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow in his second season. With the Tide, Saban has won 4 SEC championship matchups against Florida, the latest one coming this past season, beating Dan Mullen, Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, and the rest of the gang 52-46. But CBS will have this game. CBS will air this game once again Saturday, September 18th, 2:30 Central Time, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff from Gainesville. That's going to be a hot game. That is going to be a steaming, scorching game. I will be there. We'll try not to pass out, as I'll probably be in the stadium, but I'll probably be in the press box. But that's going to be a fun game. Good matchup right there between Alabama and Florida. But we take another break right now on the show, folks. We don't touch that dial because when we come back, we get into one Tua Tagovailoa. He's heard all the offseason junk. He's heard all the mess. He's heard all the naysay. He's heard all the doubters. But I'm going to get into my 3 reasons why Tua is about to turn up in year 2 and have everybody that hated on him looking like egg on their face. We'll talk about Tua right after this.
Avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
As we are back in, folks, from the break here on, in my own words, number 1 forum for Bama football news on a Wednesday, hump day, moving you through the week. Before we get into the final topic of conversation, gotta shout out Mechanic again. Mechanic came in here with that Ben Franklin, with that $100 right there. Appreciate the love and the donation coming from Mechanic, but not just him, for all of you, our outstanding, our precious donators. Thanks to you guys for making this your show, for making this your platform. Appreciate you for all that you do. It is my job to get you, the fans, what you want, and that's Bama football at its highest capacity. So we appreciate all that you do, helping us out here on the show. But not just the donations, the phone calls, the chatting in, the questions, just the energy that each and every last one of you provide to us right here. But before we get into final topic of conversation, got to remind you of, that's TDAwear.com. That right there. TDAwear.com. So for all of you fans still overjoyed with the Tide's national championship, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. Now that means you grab you an 18 of them things, folk, hoodie, t-shirt, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head over to TDAwear.com. Do it right now, TDAwear.com. You check out the championship collections merch tab, and you get that gear, those shirts, that stuff today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But we get into the final topic of conversation, and there is so much commotion. There is so much chatter about Tua Tagovailoa. There's so much chatter about Tua entering year 2 of his NFL career with the Miami Dolphins. And throughout the offseason thus far, we've heard for doubters, we've heard for naysayers, we've heard the critics. He ain't good enough. He sucked last year. He was trash. If I was Miami, I would have traded him. I would have gotten rid of him. He didn't sparkle last year. He didn't pop last year. He didn't wow last year. You saw what Justin Herbert did. Tua didn't do that. You saw what Joe Burrow did. Tua didn't do that. He didn't do what I thought he was going to do. He didn't do what I was expecting him to do. And then all of these things were said, not understanding or not choosing to understand, as I should say, that this is a young man that was coming off a catastrophic, serious hip injury in 2019. We were wondering, would the brother be able to put one foot in front of the other again? But he has worked his tail off. He's worked his way back to get to this point. And after a 6-3 season last year as a rookie, starting in games, this time around, Tua is very confident. The Hawaiian native that's known for slinging coconuts and pineapples during his time at Alabama, very confident, very, very comfortable this season. He feels like he is about to turn up and really do some big, big things here in year 2 in the NFL. If you're hearing Tua talk, he's wearing a hoodie now. He's got a beard now. He looks like he's been lifting the interstate now. I mean, this is the healthiest I've ever seen him. Like Tua just looks like he's ready to go. Incredible Hulk. He's ready to go, all in. He's ready to go, guns blazing. Like, this is about to be a big year for Tua Tagovailoa. And I'm going to get into 3 reasons why it's going to be a big year for him. And starting off at number 1, he's the healthiest that he has ever been in his football career. This is the healthiest I've ever seen Tua. And Tua came to Alabama looking the part. He did. Coming out of high school, coming from Hawaii, he entered Bama looking the part. He entered Bama ready to play and ready to be, a big-time factor. But he's now closing in on being 2 years removed from the hip injury. For most athletes, when they suffer a critical mishap like this, it takes at least 2 years for your body to return back to what it once was, or for you to return back to the form that you had prior to the injury. And for Tua, if you look on Twitter and you're watching these different videos, you can see he's back. The ability, the mobility, the agility, the change of direction, the footwork, the fluidity, the fluid motion of his hips. He looks like he's back. He feels like he's back. He knows he's back to what he was pre-injury. And like I said, if you look at arms, guns out, chest, torso, big, legs, thick, trunky, muscle, athletic, back, sculpted. Like Tua looks like Greek god ready to go to war now. He just looks like he's ready to go to freaking war now. And he's been doing this the entire offseason since the 2020 campaign. And he knows this is his time. And he knows he's about to get this done. And not only does he know, everybody around him knows it's time for him to get this done. But number 1, first and foremost, back healthy, back at full strength, back at peak power here. Number 2, Tua has always found a way. He has a history of bouncing back and responding to criticism or responding from critics that he has. I mean, this goes back to the Elite 11 where Trent Dilfer had told him, you're a great athlete, but you have no discipline. You have no, you play with no control. You play with no type of leadership. I don't know what your IQ is for this game. And Dilfer was just ripping Tua apart at the Elite 11, just ripping him apart. And I remember Tua, goes home. He hooks up with his dad. They trained and they trained and they worked and they worked and they put in countless hours at the beach and they worked and they trained. It was tough and it was hard and it was grueling. And then when Tua came back, was a completely different cat. I mean, throwing it different, spinning it different, operating the huddle different, leadership was different. Everything about Tua, when he came back around, was different. And Trent Dilfer was like, oh my gosh, I was wrong. You are elite. You can throw. You can be a leader. You can run an offense. You can run a playbook. You are more than just athletic. I was wrong, and I'm proud to be wrong. You are the MVP of the Elite 11. So we saw that then. And then if you remember the national championship game, 2018 game against Georgia for Alabama off the 2017 season, where Tua came in to replace Jalen Hurts in the second half. Tua had an interception in that game. Tua took a bad sack in that game. But what did he also do? He also threw touchdown passes to Henry Ruggs III, to Calvin Ridley, and the final touchdown pass of the game in overtime, a 41-yard bomb to Devontae Smith on 2nd and 26 to win the game 26-23. So we have seen this before. When Tua is hit with adversity, when he is met with criticism, when he is met with doubts, when he's met with naysay, when he is met with unfortunate situations, he always seems to bounce back. He always seems to get back in line. And I look at this fall coming up right here, he's heard the critics, he's heard the pundits, he's heard everybody say, trade him away, not special, haven't seen enough, played 9 games and he didn't give us anything. Now Tua's like, I'm healthy, I'm 2 years removed from this hip. Y'all know how much I ball when I'm faced with doubt, when I'm faced with naysay. He's ready to turn it up. And then last but not least, for me, it's Miami. The entire organization has bought into Tua, and Tua is not going to let that franchise down. When you discuss Samoans, Polynesians, they are extremely loyal. They're naturally loyal. They're naturally dedicated. They naturally ride for family. And they naturally ride for all of those who are with them. And when you show support of a Samoan, when you show support of a Polynesian, they're like, okay, I gotta hold it up now because this person's riding for me, this person's with me, this person believes in me, this person's supporting me, so I gotta make sure I hold up my end of the bargain, for them. Tua did this for Trent Dilfer, Tua did this for Nick Saban at Alabama, and for Miami. Miami could have listened to all the naysay. Brian Flores as head coach, Chris Greer as the general manager, they could have listened to the naysay. They could have traded Tua. They could have gotten rid of him. They could have listened to all of the pundits out there, but they said, no, this is our guy. We believe in him. We believe we got the best quarterback in the 2020 draft. We know he's coming off a serious injury, but we're going to rehab with him. We're going to work with him. We're going to get the best talent to put around him in terms of receivers, running backs, tight ends, offensive linemen, and we're going to show you that we got the best guy. And they did this all throughout the offseason process. This is what they did throughout the process. So now, in Tua's mind, it's Miami is all in on me. I'm finna be all in on Miami, making sure that I take the step in leading this group to a playoff, into the playoffs, and leading this group to, deep runs in the playoffs, and leading this group to, an AFC East division title and things of that nature. And you're already starting to see the players buy into Tua. I remember one media pundit in particular saying, it's good when it's one thing when you see the coaches talk about these quarterbacks. It's fun. It's all right when you see the coaches talk about them. What do the players think? Because the players are playing with them. The players are around them. The players are on the field. What do the players think? And Mike Gesicki, the tight end for the Dolphins, one of Tua's big targets a season ago, he comes out and said, Tua has dealt with a whole bunch of nonsense that people have said throughout the offseason. He's dealt with it well. He's handled it well. I love him as our quarterback. I'm proud he's our quarterback. And you know what? We believe in him. We're all behind him. We know what he is capable of. So you're already starting to see now players, veteran players, starting to back Tua up and understanding this is his time and he's about to get this thing done. But that's just on my end the 3 reasons why I feel like Tua is about to really turn up here in year 2 in year 2 of his NFL career with the Dolphins. But as always, people, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage here on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store, if you've got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you covered right here, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I will be back on Friday continuing the conversation that is Tide football. As always, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. If you're also trying to be one of the first to get you that print edition of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, you can do that by going to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link in the description. And if you're also trying to get your hands on the 4-finger bling jewelry, 4-finger bling necklace, courtesy of weownthefourthquarter.com, that link in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children continue doing the right thing, the smart thing, the fun thing, the good thing, the legitimate thing, to not be bored. You get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, spend in my own words.